Welcome back, Bobcats. It's Lab 2 video, and in this video, I'm just going to focus on one particular component of the lab, and that is going to be the angle of the noon sun calculation. So we'll just dive right into it. Earth-sun relations and the angle of the noon sun here. So the lab will have this component where it shows this figure. Your textbook actually refers to it as a big bottomed figure eight, and it is. And so you can see this is the analemma, and this is used to determine solar declination, which is a fancy word for saying where's the sun in the sky? Where's it hanging out at that time? But let's take a look at examples of questions that are going to come up in your lab and work through part of each of the first three questions. So question one is going to ask you to use this the analemma curve diagram to determine the solar declination on the following days to the nearest whole degree. So let's look at A. November 10th, you have this big bottom figure eight over here. We're gonna find November 10th, and there it is. So November 10th, there it is. You want the degree of which it is. So nearest to the 10th there, if you follow my mouse, it'll show up right over here. Here's November 10th. That looks like it's right about 17. So you know that is 17 degrees. And the second part is asking you it is north or south. So looking at the figure again, we see it is south. Boom. So for November 10th, 17 degrees south. Moving on to the question two, going to keep building off of this. So use an atlas or Google Maps or Earth to determine the latitudinal position. So just the latitude of the following cities. So I Googled it. Here is the first one for Lima, Peru. Ta-da! It is 12 degrees south. I know it's 12.0467. Don't worry about that. 12 degrees is fine. And you know, it's the latitude, so it is going to be north or south, and this is south, as you see over here. Now let's piece these all together to do some calculations. So question three asks you to use your answers to the previous questions to calculate the angle of the noon sun, the ANS, for November 10th in Lima, Peru. So we're going to put together question one and question two here. So here we have question one and question two. Those components are going to be plugged into this equation over here, and we're going to make it real simple and bite-sized. So the first thing here is that the angle of noon sun, there's two options here. If it is in different hemispheres, you use this top equation. If they are in the same hemisphere, we're going to use the bottom equation. Well, in our example, they're both south. The solar declination, or the LS, on November 10th is 17 degrees south, and Lima, Peru sits 12 degrees south, so we get to use this bottom equation. If it comes up in a different way for you through the other questions, you'll use the other formula here. But let's walk through this. It's not terribly scary. I just plugged in the values for the LS and LP as we have determined from the question one and question two information here. So you'll see that the LS from question one is right over here. That was 17, so we have 17 here. And then the LP, the latitudinal position, is 12, and so that is right here. Something you may haven't seen in a while to brush off some old math skills are these brackets that are inside the parentheses. That means it's going to be absolute value. All that means is that once we subtract 12, we take 12 minus 17, we get -5. That -5 will be treated as just a regular 5. It's like the negative sign stays in jail. It stays in between those brackets. So the 5 disappears. And then we take 90 minus 5 now. Excuse me, yeah, the minus disappears. And then you get an angle of the noon sun is 85 degrees. And so you'll have that for each one. You just determine your angle of the noon sun off the NLEMA for you'd move through and do December 22nd. Find that on there, plug it in. It'll be south again. And then you'll find these different latitudinal positions for these cities, and then run through your equation one more time for each of those components. And then you'll plug and play with the rest of it, rinse and repeat, and let me know if you have any questions. There's other components in the lab that aren't that complicated. Just read through the lab instructions and good luck.